Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Paranormal Lens. I'm Jamie Widener. I'll be your host tonight along with my colleague Chad Thomas, our co-host.
How are you tonight, Thomas? Jamie?
What's shaking?
We had a bunch of snow today.
I noticed that. Did you go sideways anywhere as I did?
No, because I stayed home today. I ended up staying home today. We're not busy at work. And kids head off school, so I'm like, I'm going to wait after the 2-hour delay, drop Emmy off at school, then go to work, and then it got canceled. And I'm like, there's not much going on. Do I need to come up? Did a couple things from here, and then just called it a day.
I'm apparently am considered essential because I had to go in, but everyone else here also had the sleep in snow day. Zoe was particularly happy as I woke her up at 6:30 saying, hey, you got a 2-hour delay. And I came back about 20 minutes later and said, oh, never mind. Psych.
You don't have school today.
Yeah, that's always those days. You know? Well, because you didn't, but I miss those days.
Yep. So, well, and it's interesting because the school district that my kids are in has decided not to do virtual learning days.
I know. That's awesome.
I think it's great, and I really appreciate it. Didn't mean to throw that up there.
All over. See, it's like I was driving to work. I'm sliding all over the place.
So anyway, so yeah, it was good for them to have the day off, and
yeah, I agree. I mean, I appreciate virtual learning. It gets them done on time, and I went to a school district that did not have buses. So a very small district here in Columbia, PA. So the district is the borough of 10,000-ish people, so the school district never had probably more than 2,000 kids in it. And therefore buses weren't practical, and it was a very walkable community, sidewalks everywhere. But except the school is on top of a very large mile-long hill and a rather steep one near the top. So, if you didn't have a ride, you were walking. And in days like this, you were taking 2 steps forward and 1 back on the slide, and then 2 more and 1. You get there eventually, But we very rarely miss snow days, because of that. Not having the bus and the liability. So come June, when we were pretty much, if not on time for scheduled day out of school, all the other districts were still 2, 3, sometimes 4, 5 days more because of all the time they took. So, at least the virtual days keep that from happening still. But I still think you need a snow day. I would think of it like, do you remember the movie Bull Durham? It needed a rain day, a rain out, so they go turn the sprinklers on and soak the place. So it's kind of like that. You just need a day off once in a while.
Yep.
For the kids today. Hopefully everybody else was safe and wherever they were at today too, and got to come, hunker down a little bit and get a blanket and a good movie or two. And, relax.
Did you catch the Super Bowl? No. You didn't?
No, I didn't. I caught a few minutes here and there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I watched Hometown on Discovery or whatever it's on. There's a couple interesting episodes, and I haven't seen it in a while. So I thought, you know what? Look, I don't care who wins. I guess if I had to pick a side, it's Jason Kelsey's girlfriend's brother team thing, whatever. I don't know. So as an Eagles fan, I didn't have a vested interest in this, although I don't mind seeing the 49ers lose.
But yeah, you missed a moment there, Jamie, where Kelsey was in the coach's face. I mean, and I don't really appreciate this because he's supposed to be setting an example. So you get all these. You shouldn't be yelling at your coach. But
I heard about this. Yeah,
we had some people trying to figure out what he was saying to Coach Reed, and I think we got it. What do you think?
I'll tell you, I'm willing to take the pledge on that one.
I see what you did there. Dave would be proud. Dave
Yeah.
would be
This
proud.
is this actually, and this tell the truth. We pulled this off in about 2 minutes before the episode.
We did. Yeah.
But it is something that makes me think of our good friend David Dermody every time orbs come up. And him, the wonderful picture of him holding the bottle of, or the jar of pledge, can of pledge.
Mhm.
Well done. Well done.
Well,
we may have to put that on some other social media here in the very near future. So
yep. So
all right.
so anyway, but we weren't here to talk about Super Bowl. We weren't here to talk about snow days. We are here to talk about something that I hope you researched, because I know I didn't.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh,
I
shit.
hope so. Yeah.
Oh, there's my name on it. All right. I guess I have to do it then.
Yeah.
I got it. So tonight we're going to talk about something that's kind of cool and rather fun, I think, because of what it's become. But we're going to talk about Champ, which is an AKA for Champy, which is the water cryptid of Lake Champlain. And I found this one really interesting because if you go back in time with me for a moment, about 41 episodes ago, it seems like such a long time.
I know.
A really long time. Our first episode was on Ogopogo, which is a water cryptid in Lake Okanaga in British Columbia. Mm-hmm. And I brought up a question to Dave, who was our host for that episode, and I asked him if he felt that there was some, potential at least for a climate zone, because if you kind of look at take the globe and spin it, you come across the U.S. and you're not far off from where Lake Champlain rests in the north, in the New England states. And then you kind of spin the globe a little harder and you scroll across the ocean and you're coming across the UK, and there you have Scotland and you have, Loch Ness. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. But, the idea piqued me there. And I've been to Lake Champlain several times. And, I know of Champ and at least some of the lore of it. Haven't seen him myself, him or her, whichever way. Okay. But it's a thing. And it's a pretty cool thing up there because they kind of embraced it. So we'll talk about a lot of that stuff. So let's get into it, though. So Champ is believed to be a water cryptid inhabiting Lake Champlain. Champlain, Champ, not the most original name, but to be honest, neither was Nessie. We have Loch Ness. So, we go with what we got. I'm sure if either of these were to name themselves, they'd have cool names like Sven, something like that. I don't know. Uh-huh. So a little deeper to that, both the Abenaki and Iroquois tribes that are indigenous to the area have a legend of a large water creature inhabiting the lake that looks like a large horned serpent or giant snake. So this goes way back in time. And the first sighting to be reported in print was on July 23rd of 1819 in what's called the Plattsburgh Republican newspaper. So this goes back. It's not new. It's not something where it's just been something that's kind of come with technology, having us having cameras or video and so forth. This goes way back in pre-Columbian exploration of North America, back through the Native American tribes and the first peoples. So it's pretty cool. Let's talk about the lake first. So let's set the stage for it. And we're going to go through some quick slides here of what the lake looks like. It's huge, first of all. Lake Champlain is a natural freshwater lake between New York State, Vermont State, and its northern border touches Quebec in Canada. The lake is 120 miles long, and at its widest part is 12 miles across. The average depth is 64 feet, but it's around 400 feet at its deepest points. There are over 300 species of birds that live on, near, or depend on the lake for food or shelter. There are 90 species of fish that also live in the lake. Let's slow down here. Let's slow roll a little bit and come back. The lake is the home to the oldest known fossil reef in the world that is between 450 to 480 million years old. So that is pretty cool too, because that's cool stuff.
Wow.
Historically, the lake was the territorial boundary between the Mohawk and Abenaki tribes and was known as the Lake in Between. The lake is named for Samuel de Champlain, a French explorer who discovered it in July of 1609. So he was first documented European to come to the area and note that this lake existed. There's a placard for him. The lake had significant strategic importance in the early U.S. Navy victories during the Revolutionary War and later in the War of 1812. Additionally, several forts built along the lake were key in preventing the French and British intrusions during those conflicts. On the western shore is Lake Ticonderoga, Fort Ticonderoga, which was a critical piece of the American Revolutionary War. We lost the fort to the British, and then we retook it and took their cannons, which were critical for the siege of New York and also in coming through and retaking Philadelphia. So, and the Green Mountain Boys in Vermont were a very famous group of fighters that came, also guys from the White Mountains up in that area as well, New Hampshire. So the whole area is full of history. Mm-hmm. So speaking of history, here's something kind of cool. From March 6th to March 24th of 1998, near history, Lake Champlain was officially the sixth Great Lake when President Clinton signed Senate Bill 927 to law authorizing this recognition. The law was met with significant backlash and quickly rescinded. I'm assuming because folks couldn't remember the acronym CHOMS versus HOMES. Right? Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior, throw Champlain on top of it. It doesn't make any sense. There's already things written about it. I don't know. And lastly, Champlain is similar in depth and water temperature to Loch Ness. Both are long, deep, narrow, and cold. So hence my comment earlier about climate zone and habitation. Okay. So there's something in the water, right? And this is where there is a time, beyond count of experiences. And unfortunately, most of the first peoples and Native American documentation is lost because it was oral history. There are stories, but none of it's written down or documented out. Right. So it's a lot harder to go back really far as it is with things that we as, colonizers started documenting, because we documented everything. So the Abenaki warned early French explorers about disturbing the waters of the lake so as not to upset the monstrous horned serpent that lived there. So right away, don't go in the water. They called the creature Gita Tos Kok, or Great Snake. The Abenaki legend says that Champ was created by a giant named Ad-zi-Hozo, so it could patrol the waterways and report back to him, and also to protect the lake, because it was a sacred place for them. Samuel de Champlain himself is believed to be the first European to see the creature when he came to the area in 1609, when he was near the entrance to the St. Lawrence River. Since this is an unconfirmed rumor, Chad, this may be America's first fish story. Once caught a fish this big. I once saw a snake this big. Champlain also later wrote of seeing fish at least 10 feet in length with sharp, dangerous teeth in the lake. So,
yeah. Hey, Jamie.
No.
Late. He wants you to start.
Snooze, you lose, dude. You snooze, you lose. We're not that far along, sir. We'll be fine. We do have to show you something at the end again, though. We started with. In 1819, as I mentioned, the Plattsburgh Republican reported a sighting by a fellow known as Captain Crumb, not Captain Crunch, that's his cousin, who claimed to have seen a black monster in the waters near Bulwaga Bay that he believed to be 187 feet long. Next slide. Had the head of a horse that protruded up to 15 feet out of the water. It had 3 teeth. It had eyes the color of a peeled onion, a white star on its forehead, and a belt of red around its neck. Those are some very specific things. I'll say that over again.
Yeah.
187 feet long. Okay, that's a guess. I get that. It had the head of a horse that protruded 15 feet out of the water. Okay. Get a little more specific. 3 teeth.
That's the one that gets me. How was he?
Yeah.
Counting teeth, yeah.
Eyes the color of a peeled onion. Okay, I get that. Maybe white eyes. You can't really tell. The white star on its forehead and the red belt around its neck kind of made me go, So, all right. I trust the guy. Captain Crumb. He's got a title. It's okay. Go forward a little bit in time. So, 1873. One of the busiest years of reported sightings to date. In the spring, a railroad crew saw an enormous serpent with bright silvery scales that glistened in the sun. In July, Sheriff Nathan H. Mooney, and I just want to pull Ferris Bueller, Mooney, reported seeing on an enormous snake or water serpent that he believed to be 25 to 30 feet long. In August, the passenger steamship W.B. Eddy reported being either run into or being rammed by Champ and nearly overturned by the impact. Also in August, a Burlington, Vermont native named J.P. Farmer claimed to have seen a maritime monster while fishing on Shelburne Bay. He described what he saw as being an animal with a brownish body, seemingly from 12 to 15 feet in length and having a large head the shape of a bullputs, not a bull pit, but a bullput, P-U-T. I have no idea what that is. I could not figure it out.
Okay.
Pretty specific once again, though. He saw something he could recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these sightings in that year prompted the famous showman P.T. Barnum to offer a $50,000 cash reward for, quote, the hide of the Champlain serpent to add to my mammoth World Trade Show. So in 1873, that's a lot of money, right? $50,000. That's a lot of money today.
Yeah.
Right? He never paid up because no one ever brought him the hide of the serpent or the monster. So he's still out there. And I don't know if that reward's still available or not. Maybe, right?
Maybe.
So in 1973, though, a tourist named Sandra Manzi snapped a picture of a long-necked creature emerging from the water. Next slide. Here it is. And the analysis of the picture by Arizona State University determined that it's not a fake or doctored image. So whatever this is, it's a legit picture. Unfortunately, before more investigation of the image could be done, the negative was lost. So any further analysis or study of the picture was not possible. And, back in 1973, everything had a negative. There was no digital files or anything.
Right.
Thankfully, it's not a Polaroid, at least, but, cameras had film in them, real film. And this is what she has. So she is on the shoreline, and it's a narrow point of the lake. Of course, you can see across it. But with it, this is something that's out there. So in July of 1984, 58 people on a sightseeing boat tour got a bit more than they expected when they had a Champ sighting. Unfortunately, no one on board was able to get a camera up or had a video running, so there was no documentation of it. But 58 people all claimed to have seen something in the water that day on that excursion. Okay. So to date, there have been over 400 total reported sightings by over 600 people in or on the lake. Much like reported Loch Ness Monster sightings, the existence of Champ is mostly only proven by grainy or out of focus pictures or videos. Nothing substantial that's clear and concise. So basically, Champ's not posing for selfies.
Right.
And given that there is a general belief that there's something in the lake, it is also given that it must be Champ. So this is where my experience comes in a little bit because, Champ's like a phenomenon. It's a thing, it's embraced. So if nothing else, Champ has promoted tourism to the Lake Champlain area for decades. Well, over 100 years for that matter. Champ is known, it has its own marketing campaign, and there's a ton of merchandise available.
Yeah.
There are Champ burgers on nearly every restaurant menu. Usually it's just a fish sandwich, but I would ask to be sure. The Vermont Lake Monsters minor league baseball team have Champ as their mascot. And, with all those sightings, they claim that thousands of people see Champ at every home game because he's there. There is a Champ Day, and it's the Lake Champlain Monster Festival. Next slide. This annual event is hosted by the Moriah, New York Chamber of Commerce, so it's on the Western Shore. And this year, the event will be held on Saturday, August 3rd at Beach Road in Port Henry, New York. So plan your trip now, book your stay.
Are we doing a road trip, Jamie?
I think we could do this. Why not? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a day full of fun stuff. It's a family-friendly event, activities to do, and lots of boat tours and stuff to get you out on the lake. Plenty of chances to spend your money and enjoy the day. There are many, many books written about Champ, and it has been the focus of several TV shows too. There is a folk song about Champ as well. So there's a lot that, again, the area around the lake has really embraced the idea that there is something in the water. Never been proven, never been seen, really, other than a few eyewitness stuff here and there, but never anything documented. No body's ever been found.
Mm.
So, but they're still running with it, and they're having fun with it, and they have a good sense of humor about it as well. And it's a great tourism drag to bring people to the area as well. So it's a lot of stuff, right? So what could this be? Based on many descriptions, Champ could be what's called a garfish, which is in the same class as a sturgeon and crow to be quite large. Sturgeon themselves are also found in the lake, and they cannot be ruled out either because they can go up to, they can be 150 years old, first of all. This is a garfish, and they can weigh over 300 pounds. So that's a big fish, and if it pops up here or there, and you're not expecting it, it can be an odd experience. The mind wanders to what it could be, and bam, all of a sudden, I just had a Champ sighting. Right. And it's really a natural phenomenon that's quite common to the lake.
I actually owned a garfish at one point, Jamie.
So you owned a garfish?
I did own a garfish, yeah.
Wow. Why?
I had a 40-gallon aquarium, and it was a pretty fish. So
okay,
it was big. It didn't get it wasn't that big. I didn't mistake it for Champ.
Only because you didn't know, right?
Exactly. Well, probably, yeah. So
I always think of, when people like garfish comes up, I always think of the B-52 song Rock Lobster. They start naming off fish. Like, is it in there somewhere? There are so many, and with all the species of fish, there's 90 different species of fish in the water. There could be a lot of things. This could be a pod or a pool of fish coming together and, just breaking surface. Yeah. A lot of things that could be happening that, again, you only catch a glimpse. Again, everything that happens in the water is just attributed to Champ immediately. So, where again, it could be a natural phenomenon. But this is interesting, and I thought about this for a while. And I'm going to hold the slide for a second because as we scrolled through, I showed you something, but I want to come back to it. But both Loch Ness and Lake Champlain have an underwater wave that's called a seach that can throw debris from the bottom of the lake to the surface, possibly explaining the randomness of why unusual things appear on the surface, seemingly from nowhere. It should also be noted that normal objects can become quite distorted or unrecognizable when exposed to water for significant lengths of time. Next slide. So what do you really see here?
Well, from the surface, I would see something that looks like a monster coming up. But from below the surface, I see a root or a tree branch or something.
Exactly. And that's how it's quite easy to say that this is maybe Champ from a distance, from a quick view. And, that's why I presented this, because it was in the slide as we were moving through, and right in front of what Champ looks like. And here it is again, if you take a quicker look at it, or a longer look at it instead of the quick view, it's definitely something else. So other than these couple things, something coming up off the bottom because, it's the natural wave of the lake is pulling it up, or, regular debris that can be in the water at any point, no one really knows what else this is. Hence, there's a mystery of what Champ is. Right. So, I said there's something in the water. Now I'm going to say it this way. Is there something in the water? And to wrap this up, much like the sightings of Nessie, the Ogopogo, and other water cryptids around the world, there are only a few grainy photos and shoddy videos to serve as evidence of these things existing, which leave many in doubt of their existence at all. Right? If you're a skeptic, you're going to say, well, that was that. And I think it's fair to be skeptical. I'm a skeptic in the paranormal field to begin with. I want some evidence. I want some proof. I will stretch my trust of things a bit further because of that, because not everything has a solid answer. But at the end of the day, I really want something tangible to say this is this or this is that. So we don't have a lot of that with Champ. There's one grainy picture from, 40 years ago, 50 years ago now. Gosh, 50 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah.
And we didn't talk about this, but this was an enhancement of that photo,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, this was it was a bit of a better enhancement, colorized, better colorization, crispness of the image. It's the same picture both ways as the one before it.
Right.
It's a little bit further out, so it's closer up. Um, again, tough to say what that could be.
I
And if you go
mean,
to this, the slide, 2 slides before it, where we've got the floating piece that lines up. And this is a drawing, obviously, so it's not like it was the thing, but
right.
it could well be.
Mm-hmm.
So I have spent quite a few summers in Vermont on vacations. Over the last couple of years, I am wearing my University of Vermont Catamounts hat tonight in honor of that. But and I spent some good amount of time on the shores of the lake, and I can tell you a couple things. One, it's beautiful, and if nothing else, you get a chance to go to New England or Eastern New York State, because technically it's not New England. If you go up there, you're definitely out of place.
Right.
Anytime you can get up there, and obviously the fall is a big thing because of the tons and tons of deciduous trees that are changing colors. It's beautiful. It's a rainbow of colors. But any time of the year, well, except for now because it's the middle of winter and it sucks, but because there's 2 feet of snow every day. But it is a beautiful place. The lake is vibrant. There is stuff to do in and on it all the time. And if nothing else, go see it. In the best case, you get a champ sighting. Worst case is you get a cool time and you get to relax and enjoy nature and the coolness. I'm not plugging the state of Vermont, but I'll plug the state of Vermont to say it's a really cool place as well. There's a zillion things to do, and it's pretty cool. So how big the lake is allows you to believe that something could be in it. 120 miles long, 12 miles wide at its widest peak or point. And it's a lot of square miles of water. And being that it is up to 400 feet deep, I can certainly see how a 10 or 20 foot long cryptid could be in it.
Right.
It's very plausible. And then, again, going back to the point I made at the very beginning, given the similarities in the latitude and the water conditions to those in Loch Ness for Nessie and Canada's Lake Okanagan for Ogopogo, it is theoretically possible that there is a climate zone here that is hospitable to such creatures so they can exist today.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can tell you this without a lot of fact, but, if you were just to start Googling water cryptids, you'll get a lot of stuff around the world. And there seems to be a similar climate zone in South America, Southern Africa, and Australia as well, to the southern end of the southern hemisphere. So where cryptids are at least reported. So I don't know if that's, I can't put an alignment to it because I haven't researched it enough. But that might be something for the future.
Right.
Might be a good time to have Dave come back in and give us something on that too. It's one of his passions. So, Dave, if you're watching, we miss you. Hope you're well. It's just one of those things where there's not enough, but there seems to be some information available that can start to kind of piece that together if we want to plot some maps out and stuff. But if anybody's got some time and some ambition to do that, we'd love to see it. I do not have the time.
Love to have you.
I have the ambition. It's not the time.
Exactly.
Right? There's enough. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, Chad.
Okay.
And it was fun for me because I've been there, and I've been
Right.
at the lake and I've had time on it and around it. Knowing that Champ might be out there, of course, I'm keeping an eye on the water more perhaps than I would have any other place I've been. But it wasn't like I was sitting there staring at it. There's just so much cool stuff. Oh, hey, look at this. Nice. I
think
I will continue to be jealous for a whole year.
Well, and I think, if they're going in spring of 2025, maybe we should they should do a live show from Loch Ness.
Bam. It's true. Good teammates would do that. Hint, hint. So, what do you think, Chad? I mean, I went through this a little quicker maybe than I wanted to. I cannot slow my pace apparently. Save my life.
So go back to this wave that brings things up from the bottom of not the ocean, the bottom of the lake.
Right.
So what is that like?
So it's a wave, and it goes. It is as I understand, a north-south wave. So it travels through, or north to south, and it comes down the lake. So as it
Okay.
pulls through, it actually kind of serves as like a tumbler. And it can, if there is debris to be picked, it can pick debris off the bottom and then push it up in its upward motion to the surface. And then, of course, it would turn it over, just like a wave. When you see a wave cresting, how it crashes, the peak of the wave actually turns over, it hits the beach, and then it starts to pull itself out on the undertow. So the idea of that tumble is prevalent, and therefore it can, again, pull stuff out or up and make it be visible at the surface. There's a lot of people living near the lake, especially the northern tier of the lake. As it gets through the Burlington area, you got Ticonderoga on the western shore, and you've got Quebec to the far north. There's a lot of people within a certain area, and there have been a lot of people there for a very long time. So, unfortunately, folks tend to dump stuff in the water, or you've got unnecessary, like trees come down and stuff. They go
Trees
into the
fall
water.
down. Yeah. But bear with me for a second here. Could it not be that you've got a bottom dwelling creature that we don't see very often because it's a bottom dwelling that gets caught in this wave, and the creature is forced up to the surface, just like something else that could be down there. I'm just throwing a theory out there. Is it a possibility? So
it doesn't happen often enough that we see it every day or every couple days or anything like that. And obviously, not everybody's everywhere on the lake at once, so it can happen more than we know.
And the creatures wouldn't be always where the wave is. Like it's about timing again. It's everything has to happen at the right time.
Sure.
So,
and
anyway, just throwing something out.
If there's a parallel here between Champlain and Loch Ness, they have the same concept of a wave. The same premise would apply there as well, which is also could explain why Nessie isn't as, it's a random sighting on occasion, right?
Right.
And there are a lot of people watching that lake, on a regular basis. There's this whole scientific study about it, that there are cameras on at least strategic points of the lake where there's been sighted activity before. So, that idea is that if, again, a free roaming entity, animal, whatever this thing is moving all over the place as it wishes, it may not be anywhere near a camera if it gets caught in the tow, and or if it's just coming up for whatever air it needs or whatever it does, just to check out what's going on. I totally get that, and that's what lets this be possible, right? The idea that these are big spaces. I asked, if you recall that first episode, I asked Dave if there was an access for Ogopogo to get out of Lake Okanagan, and there is. There's a river system, an inlet outlet. It's got and Lake Champlain is the same to the north. The connection is up to the St. Lawrence Seaway. The St. Lawrence River connects to the St. Lawrence Seaway, which connects to the ocean and also down to the Great Lakes. Going south, there has been channels cut to allow for boats and such to pass, so you can go into lower or upper New York State and down to the Hudson through that network. So depending on the size of this thing, obviously it may not even be in a lake at all. It could be passing out to other areas. I don't see it going to the ocean, the same as I don't see Nessie going to the ocean in Ogopogo, because it's living in a freshwater lake. I think that might be, to me at least, that doesn't seem plausible or practical. But there is enough other natural areas that are freshwater for these kind of creatures to go to, especially if there's passways. And if we've dredged, these rivers out so that we can have ships pass through. And if you go back to the War of 1812 image, there were a lot of big ships on this lake. They came from somewhere. They weren't built here, so they got in through the rivers as well.
Right.
So it's entirely possible to me that, at least to me, that this could be something where there's just passages, and we're not looking for Champ out on the St. Lawrence Seaway, or down on the Hudson, and the Hudson's so muddy you can't see anything anyway. But here we at least have a clearish freshwater area.
And out maybe
there's a tunnel, right?
Maybe there's a portal of some sort. I mean, we've got portals other places. We've thought of portals other places. So.
That's true. We talk about portals like every week, don't we? In some way or another.
Portals and orbs.
Portals and orbs. That sounds like the next song from Prestige Worldwide.
So,
What
well,
was another
and
one?
I think it's interesting that we have so much folklore around this one. There's songs about this one. There were songs about Ogopogo.
Yep.
I mean, there's festivals around Ogo.
Yeah.
It gives the community something to grab onto and celebrate, which is
Yeah.
whether or not it's actually there or not. It's gonna live in spirit because of
Right.
what it brings to the communities. So,
Yeah.
which
Well, I think
that's a
something
whole
else
nother
here too.
episode. The creating spirit thing. That's a whole nother episode.
Well, right. But we embrace the strange, right?
Mhm.
We embrace the unique, the unusual, and this is that kind of story. We like a story too,
Right.
As people, we generally like a story, a good story. And this one has that. It's mysterious. It's there's some credible people who've willing to step up and put their name on it. The
Right.
sighting. Groups of people are having experiences. So it lets you think that you could be the next one if you're there. And
Mhm.
these communities, the Champ Day event, is hosted by Chamber of Commerce. The marketing piece around Champ is hosted, sponsored by Chamber of Commerce. So, they realize that they have a draw to get people to come because we like stories. We like the excitement of this, and the 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 allure is pretty strong. I mean,
Mhm.
that's why we're talking about it, right?
Right.
I found it very interesting. And it's practically possible. So
Right.
why not?
Yep.
Yep. Well, there you go. And me too. Man, that's a great point. And I said this a minute ago, but I want evidence. I like to see something that's tangible that I can taste. I want a corpse of this thing, or I want a today picture, with a digital camera, or today video with something that's, clearer, more concise. I no knock against the 1973 picture. I'm sure that was a state of the art camera back in the day, but it's technology that's really old to us now, and we
Right.
can't do anything to improve it, unfortunately. It
And
would,
and the negative's gone,
yeah.
and
And even if the negative was here, there's probably only so much we can do. Again, it's
right.
just old technology. We've moved on. In so many ways with good stuff. The things that we obviously we carry way more tech here than spaceships have,
Right.
back in the day from the 70s as well. So we
Mhm.
got people to the moon and back on less tech. So
Yep.
I'm in the same spirit with you there, Amanda. But I also want to believe in it. So
Mm.
that's why I'm
So
going to go back.
so there was with Ogopogo, there was a brewery that
Yeah.
did an Ogopogo beer. What is there one that does a champ beer or champy beer?
Well,
I
everybody
mean, I
has
think
something.
I was gonna say you may have to research that when you go back, Jamie.
Yeah. Well, there's on the Vermont side, there's a lot of cideries as well. So
Okay.
you can't go wrong with anything.
True.
Uh, in Burlington, is a pretty big place, right? It's a major city. The university is there, the home campus of the university, and I don't remember the population off the top of my head, but it's a lot. And it's an established city. So with that, they have a waterfront events place, where you can get down and hang out at the shoreline. There's a very large. Um, I want to say it's a yacht club, but that's not the right way to say it. Marina, with a lot of big boats and small boats and stuff. So, it's the hub. And in that, like even the Vermont Lake Monsters baseball team, it's a affiliate of the
Right.
Oakland A's, which are about to be the Las Vegas A's, I guess. And it was before that until the season was the affiliate of the Washington Nationals. Boo,
Okay.
boo. As a Phillies fan, I could do that, but
Right.
I have to do that. But it's drawing a lot of stuff there, and
Right.
with all that good stuff happening, there's still like a couple parks along the shoreline where you can pop in and have nature trails and get down to the water that way and have like a beach to sit at. It's just really it's a unique thing.
Mhm.
So drawing in something like the Champ burger on the menus, there's all that stuff. So
Right.
naming something after Champ is kind of common, actually. You'd be
Mhm.
kind of disappointed when they don't have something on the menu.
Right. So, Amanda, I'm not sure if you were here when Jamie said it though, but the lake is up to 403, 400. I forget what you said
400,
exactly.
400 feet deep. Yeah, at some places.
Yeah. So,
yeah, and the natural wildlife that's in the lake, the fish species that are in the lake, like the sturgeons and the garfish, are ones that will eat just about everything. So, in a big space that the lake really is too. So, if something, and maybe it hasn't died yet, I mean, that's plausible, I
right.
guess, but it have to be pretty tired by now. But it's one of those things where the sheer size of this lake being 120 miles long and up to 12 miles wide, that's a lot of square miles. And if something were to wash out, there's a lot of islands on the lake as well, especially in the southern tier of it. So if something were to wash up, it doesn't always wash up where everybody's at. So,
Right.
or it washes up in small scales, small pieces, not small scales, maybe even, I guess, because it might have scales. But it might not come up as a full carcass. It might just come up in a couple bones here and there, which people don't recognize.
And it only had 3 teeth, so
only had 3 teeth. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait, stay this way. Oh man, man has a vivid image of what he saw that day.
Yep, exactly. So
yeah. Well, I guess I should have asked this, but where are you here? Paranormal, not paranormal, cryptid, not cryptid.
Skeptical, I don't know. It'd be great to see. I don't know that it's there. I'm the same as you. I want to see it. I want to smell it. I want give me some proof. Give me a skeleton. Give me something to see. But is it a cool story? I think it's a cool story. It goes way back. It goes to the First Nations. So why would they be making things up?
Right.
But again, that was all oral stories, and maybe it's hard to say. I think it's a cool story. I'm glad that we have it to celebrate, and to keep looking for. So the answers are out there, Jamie.
The truth is out there, right?
Truth is out there.
All right. Well, that's my story. I'm going to stick to it.
Okay.
Appreciate the indulgence. So let me do this one. It was fun. And I really mean it. If you ever get a chance, in Vermont, I'm going to say one more plug about Vermont. Vermont has the Wilson Castle, which is a prime paranormal opportunity. And it's a rentable space that is open to the public once again. It was kind of shuttered for a little while as they were getting through USA Haunts or Haunting USA, whatever that kind of now defunct organization that wasn't doing very well by them. So they figured out how to do their own events again, and they're up and running. So it's well worth the trip to Vermont just for that, but also spend some time along the lake and get to hang out and do some cool stuff. Lots of great hiking spots as well. There's mountains everywhere. So get out and enjoy everything about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think that I've been to Vermont yet. So
yeah,
I should put that on my list, huh?
Go on the list.
Well, Wilson Castle. So
yeah, I'm in for that.
So
cool. All right.
Okay. Let's see. I did get to see John Covey this weekend. I got up and saw him up at the event that he was doing. I ran into Stacy Lee, who was on as well. Saw her, so that was fun. It was nice touching base with him in person.
Last week was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and obviously we went forever long, and longer after we were off as well. He's a nice guy.
He's going to look at his schedule and figure out when he can make time to get back on and continue the conversation. So he was like, Chad, how does Jamie feel about the metaphysical? And I'm like, what? Like, Jamie likes proof.
Yes, he does. But it's one of those, I keep saying this, like I'm a skeptic, but I also want to believe. So there's always that tear somewhere, and it's not 50-50, it's not equal parts, but like it moves. And,
Right.
the more I think that we start to break down some of the misconceptions of what people who are mediums or psychics or whatever the phrase that you wish to call yourself, if you have this gift, there are so many Hollywoodism stereotypes that are just bad, and they are not true. And we're talking about real people, right? People, humans
Right.
with feelings, emotions, and stuff like that, who probably didn't ask to have the skill and talent, gift, and have to deal with it every day, and it's not a on-demand thing.
Right.
For them, they are challenged. And I know Heather, I know the Lynches are here. Heather, I think can attest to this. I know I had a conversation with her about it. Like it's challenging, and Bert as well. With their gift. So, I don't envy an individual, but I really appreciate them and the insights and the hopefully the peace and calm that they can bring to people who have the need for it when the time comes to it. Was really amazing. So it's cool.
Ron joined us. I want to
Hey.
give Ron
I know
a
that
shout
guy.
out too.
Hey, Ron.
They've been, well, he and his partner Tony have been working on Staticom.
Yep.
They have Tony, and sorry, Ron, if I get this wrong, but I think Tony did a complete rebuild of the way Staticom works and has cleaned it up, and the clarity is amazing. I heard a couple of things the last couple of days. Check out their pages. They are releasing stuff, and the clarity is so much clearer than what it used to be.
Awesome.
So, Ron, keep up the good work. You and Tony are doing amazing stuff.
Yep.
And with that, we can segue to what's coming up. Well, not that one. We are doing Hauntings of the White House next week. Wendigo, or Wendigo.
You got it right. I'm so proud of you.
Wendigo, however you want to say it, is coming up on the 27th. And then March 5th, Tony and Cherie Rathman are going to come on, and we're going to talk about Phelps Dodge Mining Hospital, which has some amazing, I saw the clips again last night on a show. It has amazing stuff there. And we'll touch base on Staticom, what they're calling Staticom 2 now, I think. And then March 12th is Fort Mifflin. Mifflin. Now I'm going to mess that word up.
Can't say that either.
So I'm just so excited.
Right.
Yeah. Ron, keep up the good work. He was on a show today with a I forget who it was, but it was a PhD talking about, they had a PhD talking about the paranormal and where things are going. And I caught the end of the show. I'm going to have to go back and watch the whole thing now. But so anyway, I'm just so excited about all this stuff.
So hold on, I got to share this. So Bert, you realize that it's like an hour and a half from us, right? Road trip. If we're going to road trip to Vermont, we can definitely get over to Philly. Mm-hmm. So let's look at this for an option this summer. We can do it.
Definitely.
Okay, that's stuff. Right, we
talk about our stuff. The brewery is sold out, and we keep saying that for the 24th. So book your tickets for further down the road because they're going to sell out too. We're doing limited investigations this year. We're down to 1 month most months. So get your tickets early. Red Mill is coming up May 11th. I know you're excited to get there, Jamie.
Finally.
Our friends Ron and Lourdes will be there. Daryl will be there. Daryl was actually just on a show right before ours with Crossroads, John Covey, and I'm drawing a blank on her name. I feel bad. But Crossroads he was just on that, so it was interesting to hear what he's got to say. He was talking a little bit about his book. Did you ever get a chance to read the book, Jamie?
Yes, I did. I read your book.
That's right, and you gave it back. So
I did give it back. I promise.
So yeah,
really good story. A neat one too. If you haven't had a chance, get out and get it.
So yeah, that's what's coming up. Anything else you want to go over? Do you want to go back to that starting slide, Jamie? Is that
Well, I just want to say something. We're first and foremost paranormal investigators. We're on the team called Jott-Nyx Paranormal, and we have not been in an investigation because of the holidays and last month with a weather issue, with the extraordinary cold that we had. It was a bad time to be out. So I don't think we haven't investigated since like December, like mid-December. So
as a team? No, you're correct.
as a team, yeah. So I'm so looking forward to the 24th, just to get back to it. And this is one of those if moments. But those who've been out in the field, whether you do it yourself, you do it with a team, it's always more fun with other people because it's the camaraderie of it. But even if you're investigating by yourself, just the exhilaration of getting to a place, getting to know about it, getting the experience of being in it, and the feel of a location, that is just so. You can't get that elsewhere. But you have to do it. And we could sit here and tell people what it's like all night long, and until you really do. No two people have the same experience, and even in the same room of a place. So it's just, I'm so looking forward to getting back, and I'm going to stop rambling. Sorry. I'm done.
No, it's so yeah, a couple of weeks and we'll be together as a team. Let's keep our fingers crossed for weather and all that stuff.
Well, yeah. So we didn't expect to have 6 inches of snow today either. Last night into this morning. So spring cannot come fast enough. All
right. So we'll go back to this, Jamie, because I know you mentioned it earlier.
So I want to say this to everybody. I've said this before. Chad is the glue that holds all of this stuff together. And if it looks pretty on the screen, and if any of us, if our names are spelled right or anything, it's Chad. And I am literally
They're
just
spelled wrong. It's me too.
Well, it's true. That's true. Okay, fair, but it's not. I'm a babbling idiot. That's my role here. Chad makes this stuff look good, and I came in about 10 minutes before the episode into this space, and I said to him, first thing I said, dude, I've been looking at these memes all day long of Travis Kelce yelling at Andy Reid, and I think we need to do one of these, but I don't know how. And he said, okay. And this is why we were probably 8 seconds late starting, because spell check to get the wording right. But I said, I had the image, at least I had the image saved. And he did it in like 4 minutes after we talked about other stuff for a little while. So, Chad, thank you. It's pretty funny. It's what I was expecting it to be. And that's awesome. So, you're the man.
Well, thank you. Here's our socials. Reach out and follow us. Thank you so much for watching us tonight. Or if you're watching the stream in the future, appreciate that. Last week, Jamie, we had somebody comment who said 9 o'clock was too late for him, but by like 7 o'clock the next morning, they had already watched the hour-and-a-half show with John, and it was like amazing. So we really appreciate everybody who comes out and watches what we do. We have a lot of fun with it. It's something that's become important to us. I think I feel like, I need to be here on a Tuesday night. So it's really become important. And we appreciate it.
There's a lot that goes into this, and we wouldn't be here if the folks weren't showing up with us. We probably would have said, I said this a couple weeks ago. I've purchased more books and more stuff, and I've invested more time in things in the paranormal field because of this, and I've learned and expanded more, in the last 42 episodes than I would have if I wasn't doing this at all. And I appreciate that. And I want to say thanks to David Deramiti once more, our original co-host. Dave, we miss you, of course. And hope you're well and successful in your endeavor there. That took you from us here. But, when we sat down to do this was about a year ago. And, the thought of what this could be and what we were going to do, and we had no clue. no freaking clue what we were going to do, or how to do it for that matter. And again, I think there's a lot of credit to Chad, for driving all the tech stuff and the background things that nobody gets credit for ever. But he makes it look good. And Dave's driving ideas and they just let me babble. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So, it's amazing how far we've come, but I do look forward to this every week as well. And even though there's a task associated to getting an episode together, it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, you're going on vacation in April, Jamie, and I don't know what's going to happen. Like
I
I
am.
can't sit here and talk to myself for an hour. So
I'm going to say, I'll say it here now. We are accepting applications for a guest host for that night. How's that? So
I got something in the works that everybody would be happy about.
Okay. As a backup plan, we can talk about that. I might chime in, but I will be honest with you. I'm going to be at Walt Disney World that week, so if I chime in, I'll be standing in front of the Haunted Mansion, I promise, but I probably won't because I'll be having fun with the family and everybody. So, we got to figure that one out. But I say we have time, but we have exactly 2 months, right? So,
now I'm in panic mode, Jamie.
Yeah, it's okay. You got this. What's the worst that could happen?
We don't have a show that night.
I say that, here it is. So it could be okay. It's going to be okay.
So, all right. Well, again, thank you to everybody. We're going to wrap this up. Jamie, any last minute thoughts?
Just thanks everybody for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week. And the hauntings of the White House is a pretty exciting one. So looking forward to it, Chad. Bring it home.
All right. Well, we will see everybody in a week. Thank you. Good night.
Right.